Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Todd coming to you again from the back patio. Now, this is, to be perfectly honest, this is review number 2 for the day. I got time today, man. I got all of my, little ticky-tack crap I was trying to do around the house done early. Rescue Sipper's over here sniffing around, making sure everything's all in order, that her kingdom has not been infiltrated by ne'er-do-wells and these sorts of things. It's fairly comfortable out, being August here in the deep south. It's probably 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And, for a guy that works outside in this, down here, this is like, I'm talking about, this is freaking comfortable. I'm shocked. Thermocel's cooking. No mosquito issues. Now, I've said it before, but damn, Thermocell does not help with flies. See there? Drive me nuts. This year's been a particularly interesting year with flies. They seem to have been a bit prolific in their reproductive habits. You can still hear a little rumbly bumbly from the thunderstorm that rolled through earlier. Now we've got an interesting beer here today. This is the Mangrove Pale Ale from Oyster City Brewing. Now, Oyster City Brewing, it started out in Apalachicola, Florida. Now I don't know exactly how it all happened, but they started spreading their wings, and there was a little brewery right. Make sure I'm straight that way, right down Government Street from my house, called Serta. The guy started off with a coffee shop, and had sorbet, yeah, and ice cream and gelato. Mrs. Sipper's a big fan of that sort of thing, so we were in there on occasion. Then they built the brewery, not in the same spot. It was down around the corner on Government Street. He sold it, and it was, it was all hush hush in the newspapers. Oh, Serta's been sold, and can't tell you who, and all this other nonsense. Mobile doesn't have a lot of breweries, so when one of them was making a major change like that, it kind of made the newspapers. And turns out it was Oyster City. Now, eventually, I started noticing. Let's see what my dog's up to back here. Just giving y'all a good sniff over. Now, eventually, I started noticing some beer from one of my favorite breweries back in Charleston, Palmetto, about town. And then, it finally became public that it was Oyster City that bought Serta, and it's a consortium of breweries now under the parent company called Made by the Water. All these flies. I don't know if you can see them. I feel like a dung heap, but they're buzzing around me. Palmetto, Oyster City, and I believe they have now bought Faubourg over in New Orleans. That's the scuttlebutt. I can't confirm it. The only reason I say that is because I go in Oyster City probably more often than I should, and lo and behold, there's Faubourg stuff in there on tap. And my buddy that lives over in the area told me that they were closing. Now, I had another buddy that was just over there, said, nope, they're not closed. So I think that Made by the Water has moved in and purchased up Faubourg, which used to be Dixie, but we had to change the name of that. I'm just rambling on about Oyster City. It is my favorite brewery downtown. Braided River and Wingman and Oyster City and Iron Hand. I like them all, but I tend to gravitate more towards Oyster City than the rest. Oyster City and Braided River. So let me get back on track here. This is it's a pale ale. It's 8.2%, and it's got mango in it. And I'm going to tell you now, it's pleasant. I like it. I don't like more than a couple. It gets to be, I don't know. There's just something about all that. The mango is really forward, and it doesn't work after it. It works well with the hops that are in it. I don't know what they are, but after a couple of glasses of it, that combo, it's off-putting for me. I can't tell you why. It just starts working me in a way that it's not good. So I'm good. Now this is the last can. Fucking dog, where in the hell is she going? This last can of it I got. I don't know if I'm going to buy another 6-pack. You know, if I'm out and I see it and the mood strikes me and I know I'm not having more than one or two, I'll probably get it again. But I'm not going to have another 6er in the fridge. Only because there's just, and now this is me. Your mileage, of course, may vary. So it's a sweet one, and it is mango forward. It's got some hops on on the finish, and they're not. And this is part of the problem. They're not the kind of hops that I enjoy. These are straight up bittering hops, and that particular bittering hop and the mango, that combo for me is, it's not friendly. Other people, you know, everybody's taste is different. All this stuff's subjective. I'll poo-poo this and poo-poo that, especially when it comes to the land of IPAs. I'll do it in a heartbeat. But I fully understand that, you know, it just because I don't like it, somebody else might. And a textbook example of that is my buddy John, who honestly, if they could distill hops down to an extra hop concentrate that was, the IBUs were so far off the charts that the normal human being would probably be sent into convulsions and have permanent tongue damage, he would find that particular beer cloyingly sweet. I mean, it's just the way it is. I've been out and done flights with him. We've been friends. Oh my God, I just can't even count the years now. But when you're old as hell, like I am, you know, it's the way it works. And we were just in Wigman, and they had a beer. You know, this is kind of thing I can't look it up because I just think of this shit as we go along. It was, you know, y'all remember the dumbass ads that Miller Lite was running years ago about being triple hops brewed? We all know that was an absolute dog squeeze. Triple hops brewed. This particular beer was triple hops brewed, and it was hoppy as hell. And he got it on a flight. I left it off. Tried his. It was pretty rough. I mean, I couldn't do it. For him, he was disappointed. Oh, I'm a little disappointed in this. I expected some hops, you know. So there you go. Now, this particular beer, you know, I don't know what else to tell you about it. It's, you know, it's well made. The carbonation level on it's great. Look at it. I mean, it looks great in the glass. It's a nice dark straw color. I mean, this is just a tick above. I mean, you know, I don't know if you can call it. It's more of an amber than a pale color wise. But you know, I don't know what malts or anything, you know, might be in it. it is rich and flavorful. I mean, it is packed with flavor. And it is now up front at first. There's a lot of mango, and it's like honey and biscuity. Can't really come up with much else. It's the finish on this one that kills me, because there's enough of that, the mango fruitiness and the honey and all that clings in there. And then when the hops kick in on the finish, they just don't work well together. I don't know, and I'm not smart enough, and I don't know enough about these kinds of things to say, well, maybe if you tried a different hop and which one might might turn it around for me. But it, take that for what it's worth. I don't want to sit here and blast it just because I don't like it. Yeah, I mean, this is the only one of these I'm going to drink today, and it's nice enough. But by the time and it's already started. By the time I get to the end of it, I'm kind of over it, kind of done with it. So, given that info, let's wrap this pig up. And now the dog, this kind of thing, when I, wish I had all the gear, swing that thing around and show you what my dog's up to. But dogs are dogs, man. I love my dog. I'm a dog guy. And this little rescue thing, we went over to Metri and picked her up, based on a photo. And man, it's a long story, but she did not come without her issues. And this, if you're going to rescue dogs, particularly dogs that are already a couple of years old, you got to be prepared for some things that whoever had them before you may have been doing horribly wrong or just behaving horribly with their pet. And this one came with some of that. And it took 6 months, before the three of us figured one another out. She had to accept the fact that she didn't own this house, because she tried it, didn't work out for her. And now she's the greatest thing. I mean, she's fun all the time. She's just absolute, just as silly can be when it comes to little dogs. And she's just turned out to be the greatest pet. But just know that I encourage everybody that wants a dog to rescue a dog. If you've got experience with dogs, great. Roll the dice and just take your chances on one that needs a place to go, that might be a couple, 3 years old. The one we had prior to this was an older dog. She only lived with us for 5 years before she passed. That was the saddest day. That dog walked in the door, was the sweetest dog on the planet from the day she walked in my house until the day she died. Just the greatest little dog. But it's a juggling act. It's a roll of the dice. But always, if it's anything you've ever thought about rescuing a dog, rescue one. You can rescue puppies, and then that's easy. You can turn that dog into whatever you want. But if you're going to rescue one that's got a little age on him or her, just know going in that, whoever that dog was exposed to prior to you, however caring and loving you are, that might not have been where they came from. So it may take a little bit of time, and this one did, and it's paid off. And now I have a great little pet because of it. But it was Mrs. Sippert that picked her out. She went and got her. I came home one day, had a dog. I mean, I knew she was going. She didn't just surprise me with a new dog. But there you go. So now that I'm 15 minutes in and have managed to change the damn subject 3 times here at the end of this thing. Oh, these flies. hate them so much. Please like and subscribe. And as always, enjoy those adult malted beverages responsibly.